Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Electron. Recently, there's been a hot debate online about the next generation of consoles decreasing the loading times available. This is going to be a little different. Reader beware, as I will be doing a series of experiments to see where we're going. The moment I hypothesize that this is not that both sides of this argument are kind of correct, but not to the same degree that you actually think. So I'm going to be running two games on two different devices. This is my so we'll be running Ghost Recon Wildlands and the original Ghost Recon on my main computer, and I'll be running the original Ghost Recon on an old laptop that I have that's about 10 years old. The specifications regarding my normal running PC is that it has an Intel i7 4770, 3.4 GHz, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and a GeForce GTX 1080 Ti. Whether or not this is actually I apologize for all this. So we're going to actually compare the loading times, and I'm hypothesizing that loading times will decrease for older games on more advanced computers. And we're going to actually see this works. Why have I chosen Ghost Recon? I just happen to have every single Ghost Recon title available, and it's probably got the largest range on gaming capability. On Ghost Recon is very, very old. Ghost Recon Wildlands is new. Ghost Recon Breakpoint will be released soon, so we'll have a look and check out the loading times regarding this. I'm trying to keep this as controlled as possible, so we'll have a look at, but there will be difference in graphics, etc., on levels of graphics, on levels of resolution going forward. Alright, so what's going on? Let's go and check out the graphics here. So we got pretty much all the presets set to, all the levels set to around about medium. We got that the VRAM usage is at 2310 megabytes. Nothing really much to go on here, just anti-aliasing, etc., etc., etc. The other thing to note is that the Recon Wildlands is an open world game, which will probably be one of the main differences we're going to points of contention regarding this. But essentially, what we're looking at is what are the loading times regarding the newest game on slightly more advanced specs versus an older game. And since Ghost Recon Wildlands should be relatively similar, it shouldn't be a problem. Alright, so we'll make this nice and simple, and we will do a new game. Yep. I'm not going to bother too much about any customizations. We're just going to roll in. A bit of a loading time here. I will put down the loading times for each section on the bottom of the screen there. Just save. We don't want to really deal with anything. Doesn't really matter what difficulty we go for. We're just checking out loading time here. Okay. So yeah, we got quite a bit of a loading time, but this again is my computer is not exactly the best thing, and is a relatively new game to add in here. I have actually had arguments on specification and tech. One argument that I have had with people is regarding CPUs. I know a lot of people are praising the new AMD CPU. It is definitely cheaper than Intel's latest generation. However, don't go quoting threads to around just to let you know I have actually done experimentation with CPUs and versus GPU threading numbers and stuff, and you will actually see that there is 2 points when plotted that a CPU will actually outperform threading on a GPU because of a bottleneck, and that is where the information is sent out to the multiple threads versus where all the multiple threads are reconverging that information to a single point. So by and large, that is all. Your CPU is going to actually be your bottleneck in majority of computers and console devices. Okay, so we've loaded in at this point, and we'll rock through. We'll have a little bit of a play around. I know there's lots of things like popping, artifacting, several things going on. And we have a game freeze. There we go. So what we may also end up doing is, again, on my main device here, is we'll might end up loading a bit of other stuff going on. Okay, so there is another debate that's been going on that the PlayStation 5 and Microsoft's Project Scarlet will have SSD drives. I am actually running a hybrid, so it's probably not as effective. Okay. So, alright, we'll skip that. Okay, we'll skip this and we'll just have a little bit of look around and see what how the game is responding. Then we're going to go and do the original Ghost Recon, and we'll see how that goes. Again, this experiment is just to see older games versus newer games on more advanced systems, etc. Because that is where I think you're going to see the loading times change. I'm theorizing that essentially what you're going to see is a lot of games coming out in the future on these new consoles are not going to see that much of a loading time drop because they're going to be more advanced. They're going to be pushing more boundaries. And that's essentially what we're showing here. Alright. So, alright. So we'll just have a quick run. Alright, we'll just roll up. So we're getting a few frame freezes. That is probably due to my computer not being able to handle this all that well. I need to do an upgrade again. I am an awful driver. I am not good at this. Alright, so we'll just quickly clear out a few bad guys. And I mean, we're not seeing anything too bad here. It's pretty easy going, pretty smooth, and yeah, so far it's not. So I mean, again, this isn't the most Advanced Ghost Recon game, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, is still set to be released. I have played the beta and it runs relatively smoothly. It has about the same loading times. Right. I want to hop off here. Alright. So sprinting it seems to be. Alright. It's down. Okay, things looking still pretty good. Looking good, looking good, looking good. And there we go. Yep. Oh, good so far. Oh yeah, this is on like the easiest mode, and I'm just running through. Alright. And then I'll capture this guy, and we'll call it there. And that will be our test done. Oh, there we go. Anyway. So just watch this loading time again. Alright, so that's the loading times for Ghost Recon Wildlands on my main PC. Again, that's an Intel i7 4770, 3.4 GHz, 16 RAM, and a GeForce GTX 1080 Ti. Alright, so I'll just let this show up and we'll put another loading time displayed at the bottom of the screen, and we'll check out the original Ghost Recon and see how the loading times differ with that. Alright. Okay, folks, we're now looking at the original Ghost Recon, once again on my main computer, which is an Intel i7 4770, 3.4 gigahertz, 16 gigabytes RAM, GeForce GTX 1080 Ti. Alright, let's look. So, difference here is that we're going to put the graphics up to full. We've got it as actually, we can actually go higher. Let's put let's see if we can go any higher. No, yep, we can actually go higher. Let's crank it right up. So we're basically going all out on the graphics here. Let's see, both 324-bit. Yep. Yeah, we'll just leave for that. So we're pretty much like at maximum graphics here. This is compared to Ghost Recon Wildlands, which I had to set it at medium graphics. So this is at full level. This is as the maximum it can actually go to. So let's go and start a new campaign. Doesn't really matter which difficulty, we'll just go that. Death. And let's. Alright. Okay. So, auto assign. And it's running through. Alright, let's check out the loading time on this. Absolutely no loading time there. Okay? So this is an old game in that, okay, where are we? We want to go there. So this is an old game that, and it had no loading times whatsoever. Nothing special about my PC. It's not that great. And again, the loading times were very, very minimal. I have no idea what I'm doing in this because it's so old. Alright, let's have a look. I think we have to go around here. There we go. There's the sprint. Man, this is very old school to be putting sprint on the right mouse click. I mean, look, the graphics aren't great or anything. This isn't open world like Wildlands is. But we can see there's no loading time whatsoever. If we want to go through more verification, we can go and have a look at last generation console Ghost Recon Advanced Warfare. We can take a look at that and see how that loads up. Okay, so decided to just add in Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter to this. This was last generation standard. This is the flag game for the Xbox 360. Once again, we're going all out on the graphical settings, so we'll hopefully see how this goes. New game. Alright, so again, slightly longer loading time than original Ghost Recon. Is comparable to Wildlands, with Wildlands at medium graphics. Soon see. Again, I'll have the loading times down at the bottom of the screen. It doesn't seem like it didn't take quite as long. So again, this is a situation of older game, more advanced system. So this is what I think a lot of people are not talking about with this loading time issue. Is many people are just saying, "Oh yeah, no more loading times." If we go talking, we're talking sort of the older games. Yeah, loading time seems to be reduced. But that's not going to be the case when developers are going to keep pushing the graphics and everything to the next level. Bigger open worlds. So I don't think this whole next generation reducing load times is actually as correct as everyone is saying. So let's have a look. Hey, alright, so hopefully we'll be in a second and we can check things out. And we'll have a look at how the game moves and stuff. Again, like the original Ghost Recon versus let's see. There we go. So yeah, again, this is linear rather than open world. So there's going to be that advantage for loading, is there's less to do. But again, this is a situation that we're going to see with future games, as more and more games are probably going to move to this open world style, which is something we're going to see for the future. Let's see. Okay. We'll go pick up the teammates. I mean, Ian, everything looks like it's running smoothly, no pops, no stutter. So again, this is, but this is, again, I keep looking back, this is an old game. Alright, let's have a look. Mouse 2. Alright. Point of destination. Someone's shooting at us. Where is he? Gotcha. Whoops. Okay. That was me doing bad and not actually paying attention. So this being loading probably as a result of that. We can go load from there. Again, loading time. So that section, again, loading times are not an issue here. And the whole, when I died and we had that long loading period, that's probably from to cover up a lot of that old loading periods. So again, this doesn't seem to be an issue here. Loading time, it's a little bit longer, but it's not all that long. This is an older game on a more recent... Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are now looking at Ghost Recon, the original, on a low-end PC or laptop that is at least 10 years old now. So this is Intel i7 MX620, 2.67 gigahertz, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and an Intel integrated graphics card. We're setting all of everything to about the same as what we did on my main computer, which again, the specifications on that are an Intel i7 4770 and a 3.4 gigahertz, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and a GeForce GTX 1080 Ti. Yes, you can later on in the comments below mock me about how bad my PC is. So this is going to be the test to see how the loading time responds on an older machine with an older game. I think we're going to see that the loading times are a bit higher here. Once again, I'll put the loading times in the bottom of the screen. Alright, here we go. So we'll load up a new game. Oops, okay. Pane. Doesn't matter, we'll set it to recruit. We just want to do this quick. Use DF and start the game. I don't want to really deal with the briefing. It doesn't affect us. That's... Jeez, I can't be bothered dealing with all this. Hang on. Oops. My bad. Okay. Zoom. Down to start. Skip. We'll just go auto assign to first. And let's kick start. Okay. So, at the moment, okay. So we saw a brief, it took a little bit longer, not a huge amount, but there was a brief increase there. Mostly everything looks to be about fine. I think it was a fraction longer there to load. Uh, the loading time is at the bottom of the screen, so you can verify it if you need to. I think that's all we need right now. I'm not going to be too long here, mostly because I don't have a proper setup for this. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at Graw and see how Graw responds on this machine. And though I think she's already starting to heat up, so it's already probably pushing the limits on this computer. Yeah, this computer is incredibly bad. I'm not afraid to admit that. So we'll take a look at how this looks, how Graw looks, and check the loading times there, and then we will confirm whether or not my hypothesis is correct. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're just doing one last test to this experiment of ours. This is Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter on my old laptop, which is running Intel i7 N620, 2.67 gigahertz, 4.0 gigabytes of RAM, and an Intel integrated graphics card. More or less, we've got to try and keep the graphics settings the same as what we had on the main PC, and just update there. Alright, so we'll wrap this up with one last loading screen. We'll go campaign, yep, new. Alright, so we're loading up, and once again I'll be putting the loading time at the bottom of the screen, and we'll have a look. So this looks like it's actually taking quite a bit longer to load. This is the main PC, and there we go, it's done. So as I said, we'll be putting the main bits of information up as needed. We're in. Okay, so here now we're starting to see the issues surrounding. Yeah, the frame rate is choppy. It's pretty bad. I mean, this is an old machine, so it's understandable that this probably can't handle this, which it kind of should be able to, because it's about the same time. It's actually slightly better than the Xbox 360, but I mean, I would say a lot of the components now are beginning to wear out. So the frame rate is not that good. Seeing artifacting, stutter. But the main issue is that loading time we're talking about. And again, we're going to actually see, once we get up into everything, what the actual loading time was. But I think it's pretty fair to say still that I have a feeling that we're going to find that the loading times are not going to be that much different. But what we're going to see is actually that the age of the game versus the tech in the PC is essentially going to play a huge role in how fast this actually loads. So I'm going to wrap this up here. I'm going to do the analysis of the data, and then I'm going to draw up a conclusion. Okay, so what is the conclusion from this experiment? Well, looking at all the data, the loading times don't vary that much. Maybe a couple of seconds between them, but they're relatively the same. We see most of the changes is definitely with Graw. there was a very definite an obvious frame rate drop and frame problem. Now, there's several factors that could be influencing this. My main computer does have a hybrid hard drive, and the laptop is on a mechanical hard drive. And there is a lot of talk with the solid state being a huge change in performance and loading times. The other is that I do happen to have quite a few processors running on my main computer, so that could be hindering it a little bit as well. The other issue that could be behind this is there is actually a software bias in a lot of it, and that there could be some stuff going on with the software such that it is actually designed to be doing something while there's something loading in the background, and so you've got these, the elevator ride scenes or the cinematics or something to hide the loading screen. There is a video going around that is showing with the PlayStation 5, I think it's Marvel Spider-Man on PlayStation 4 versus PlayStation 5, and it shows like the difference in the loading time. Keep in mind that that is actually a dev kit for the PlayStation 5, and I would advise ignoring that completely. This is coming from someone who has been burnt too many times from Ubisoft with the Snowdrop engine. So, whatever you see, do not believe until it's been released. Until you see what's been released, whatever they tell you is not true. It's mere speculation. So I think you're going to end up finding that something like the PlayStation 5 will not perform as well. There is actually another thing that a lot of people are not talking about with the solid state drive versus mechanical drive. And that is storage space to cost. Now, the solid state drives are starting to have a larger storage space compared to mechanical drives. On the screen now, you'll see a comparison of solid state drives versus mechanical drives, price-wise and size-wise. So solid state drives are definitely looking like they're going to outperform mechanical drives in that regard. However, there is a big problem with cost. And with games as big as they are now, we're definitely going to need that storage space, and the cost of putting a solid state drive to house games of that size is going to be a very, very big hindrance. To put things in perspective, Ghost Recon Wildlands is about 72 gigabytes versus Ghost Recon, which I think was 900 megabytes, and Ghost Recon Advanced Warfare was basing it on the DVD size, is about 4.5 gigabytes. You're seeing just between the huge jump in how big these games are that have got to go into your hard drive. Now, this isn't too much of a problem if you worried about games that you basically, games that you end up just putting a few seconds on, like you play through once, remove it. Something like The Witcher might be something that you do that with. Yeah, I know, I just spoke heresy there. But this is, over time, going to be a huge issue. And this is something that is going to essentially put consoles in a very, very big bind. The advantage of a lot of the PCs, we just stick in another couple of solid state drives. No big deal. I think I'm running 3 mechanical drives for storage, which as you can see, they're cheaper. I mean, there's been another picture up showing that if you do a solid state drive for the same price as a mechanical drive, you're not even a fourth. You're only about a fourth of the size, and otherwise, to get the same size, you're paying 6 to 10 times the price. So the issue is that these solid state drives are going to push the price of the Project Scarlet and the PlayStation 5 up. These are not going to be cheap. Microsoft and Sony will either be cutting a huge loss on these, or basically PCs are going to outperform them in price-wise. I mean, you even have a lot of companies now, like Razer and MSI and a few others building. I think even HP, I think, is on it as well. They're building exclusive gaming laptops, and these are now out. These will outperform any console, even the next generation consoles, no problem. On top of that, they are about the same price, give or take a few $100, US dollars, I think. So, in my opinion, I don't think this loading time issue is much of a discussion. It's a moot point. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, most of us aren't going to care about loading times. Like, once we're in the game, that's it. We don't care. We just play the game. And the other is that what's not being talked about is, yeah, a lot of games are moving to this open world style scenario. And what we're going to see is that the bigger these open worlds, the longer the loading time initially is going to be. On top of that, many areas are going to have to be chopped up. So, my final thoughts on the whole issue. Don't believe everything that's being said about the loading times. This is done on a dev kit. These are not reliable pieces of information. PC is still ultimately going to be cheaper in the long run. If I'm going to throw my 2 cents in over which console you should get, considering all the AAA titles are now being ported to the Nintendo Switch, I would get that. Not only are you going to be able to play these games at home, you'll be able to play them on the go, and they're not going to be and on a device that's not as bulky as a laptop. Like, I would be able to play The Witcher on the bus or on the train, no problem. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents. We'll leave it there. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Feel free to leave a comment. If you didn't, hey, the dislike button's right over there. I'm Electron, and I'll see you next time.